Okay, we're Unit 2B, dash 8. We're going to look at parallel lines. You have to be able to write an equation and draw or graph a line that's parallel to any given line. And you have to be able to do it through specific points. So parallel lines, here's the key. If two lines are parallel, they have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Because they never cross, we want them to go up and over the same exact way from a given point, and then they'll never cross. That makes them parallel. Okay, now here's how the equation might look. I'm going to actually give you an example, and at the same time I'm going to write the steps down and see if that helps. So here's an example of how it would be written. Ooh, that's too narrow. Let's make that a little better. Sorry, guys. Example. Write the equation of a line parallel to y equals negative 2x plus 3 that passes through the point four, 5. Now before we begin this, for my conceptual learners out there, let's graph what this is talking about. Let's see what this question is actually asking, okay? So let me draw a coordinate plane here, a coordinate grid. See if I can do this well. And let's graph this, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is look at this equation. Well, let me do a different color here. Let's look at this equation right here and let's graph it. If you're still not sure how to graph a line, you really need to come talk to me or Mr. McGrath or Mr. Wells and make sure you know how to graph a line. That's the key to this whole chapter. If you can't graph a line, you're really not going to be able to do well on this test. So we're going to go to plus 3. That's where we start. Remember the beginning, the b, the y-intercept, and we're going to go down 2 and to the right 1. Down 2 and to the right 1. Okay, and then I'm going to connect that. Remember, no wimpy little lines. I want a nice long line with arrows on the end. Okay, that's the line that we want to be parallel to. Now, our new line is not only going to be parallel to that, it's also going to pass through 4, 5. So let me do a different color since it switched on me. So let's find 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. Remember, when we're doing slope, it's up and over. When we're doing an ordered pair, we do x then y. Okay, so that's where people get confused. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need a line that passes through that point and parallel to the pink line. So it's going to look something like this. Okay? It's going to have the same slope. What we have to figure out is the y-intercept. Every once in a while you can get that from the graph, but most of the times you can't tell from the graph because it's really hard to draw an exact parallel line this way. But we want to know the equation of this line. Okay? That's what we're looking for. We already know the equation of this line. It's y equals negative 2x plus 3. So we already know for that purple line, we already know the slope is y equals negative 2. What we don't know is the y-intercept. Now by looking at this purple line, I could guess it's probably going to be positive because it looks like it's going to be way up here right into my word problem. But we actually have to do this in a specific way, okay? So here's what we need. We know, so here's the steps you want to do. So to graph or find the equation of a line, And it's always going to be this. Oh, I don't know how to spell line, apparently. Number 1, find and label the slope. Sometimes you have to solve for the slope. Sometimes it's given to you. So find and label the slope. Okay, let's look at our problem then. I'm going to go purple because we were talking about that purple line. So we know what our slope needs to be. The slope on the orange line has to be the same as the slope on the purple line because they're parallel. So there's my slope. So I'm going to write it right here. My slope is -2. Okay, there we did our first step for our purple line. Okay, second step is to find and label. Notice I always say label. X1 and Y1. Okay, well, do we have a point on that purple line? Were we given a point? We were. We had to be given a point. Here it is right here, remember? There's our point. Our point is 4, 5. That was in the problem. So I'm going to write 4, 5, and I'm going to label it X1, Y1. Okay? Number 3 then is to fill in the values in the point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to take this information from the purple and I'm going to fill it in. Y minus 5 equals -2, x minus 4. Okay, now if I don't ask for a specific form, you can leave it here. Okay, but if I ask for it in specific form, or I want it graphed, or I want to know the y-intercept, then I need to go and I need to finish it. And to finish this problem, I'm going to use algebra to convert to y equals mx plus b. You were doing this last section, so you know how to do this. We've been doing this whole chapter, so I'm going to take y minus 5 equals -2 x minus 4, and I'm going to convert it. First thing I need to do, I need to get rid of those parentheses, so I need to distribute that -2. So now I have -2x plus 8. Be careful, negative times a negative is a positive. I'm almost done. I just need y by itself. So now I just add 5 to both sides. And if we'd already drawn this, we already had a prediction that our y-intercept was going to be pretty high up there. So I'm seeing it as 13. Let's look at our purple line. Yep, because my grid is so big, 13 is going to be way up there. That is my y-intercept. This is the final equation of the line. And then if I ask you to, you can graph it before, and then you're going to graph it. Or you can graph it after, okay? So that's example number 1. Example number 2, I'm not going to do all the steps. I'm just going to, well, I'm going to do the steps. I'm going to talk you through it a little bit faster, okay? So again, example 2, I'm going to say I'm given line y equals 2x plus 12. Write an equation of a line. Write the equation of a parallel line that passes through -1, 6. Now I would pause it here and see if you can do this on your own. See if you can do this without going the step by step with me. If you can get the right answer, you can fast forward that part, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do this time, you could draw your graph first if you want to see what's going on. I'm going to go through my steps. And my first step is find the slope. In this case, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to look at this graph. I need to be parallel to this. So that has to be my slope. The 12 doesn't matter because we need a new y-intercept if we're dealing with a parallel line. It has to have a different one. So my slope is 2. Second step, find and label x1, y1. Well, there's only one point here. It's -1, 6. So I'm going to label that. The third step is to fill in the parts that you know of the point slope formula. So y minus 6 equals 2, parenthesis, x minus -1. Be careful of that. And now I'm going to solve for y. And I'm doing this pretty fast. So if you need to go back and take it a little bit slower, you could go back and look at the other one again. Y minus 6 equals 2. I'm going to make this x plus 1. Why can I make it plus 1? Because subtracting a negative is the same as adding. I'm trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to distribute that 2. Okay? And that's going to give me y minus 6 equals 2x plus 2. And then I'm going to add that 6 to both sides to finally get y equals 2x plus 8. If it's parallel to that other line, it's going to have the same slope, 2, and a different y-intercept. In this case, 8. Okay? Now, let's graph this. If you graphed it first, that's fine. I'm going to graph it now. Let's see if I can do it correctly. I'm going to graph both lines. I highly recommend you color code your lines. Okay? But that's kind of up to you. Whoops. You know, I'm still learning this crap. At this point, I should know how to use this really well, but I don't. Okay, so let's graph that first one. Let's graph the given line. So the y equals 2x plus 12. So let's graph that one in blue. Okay, so I'm going to go up to 12. I hope I have 12 on here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, perfect. And then my slope is up 2 and over 1. Well, I can't go up 2 and over 1. I'm going to run out of room. Up 2 and over 1. So I could go down 2 into the left one. That's still a positive slope because it's a negative negative. And I'm going to try to connect it and see if I can do that. Oh, wow, that's just awful. That's not even a beginning of a straight line. Let's try again and see if I can do it correctly. Okay. All right, that's pretty good. I'm going to stop there. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph my other line. Okay, that one was in red. So that started at 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And has the same slope because it's parallel, up 2 and over 1. And then I'm going to connect it. Whoops, I didn't go up 2 and over 1 again. Up 2 and over 1. And then I'm going to connect it. I'm going to try my best to make it look nice. And they should be parallel. Okay? All right, that's how you do parallel lines.